Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel and welcome back to the Black Ops 6 beta. The beta itself went down earlier. It did not go down at 1 p.m. Eastern like they initially said. Treyarch did put a tweet out on Twitter where they said that they're going to be in the closing phase, essentially, of the beta, and during that time, people are going to have pretty wonky connections, and I think they were testing out a couple of things on their end, so the beta stayed up for a few more hours, but now it's offline, it's gone. But what we have here today are going to be 2 bits of breaking news. I'm talking breaking, like they just came out in the last hour, and both bits of news are actually pretty concerning in regards to Black Ops 6, so let's just go and jump into it. Here we have this from Charlie Intel. Breaking! Activision confirms there is no campaign early access for Call of Duty Black Ops 6. In a statement from an Activision representative, they told Charlie Intel, "The team is fully focused on October 25th. We are excited about all the game has to offer across campaign, multiplayer, and zombies. This year we made the decision to ensure the community gets to dig into any and all modes that they want at the same time, so we're back to one massive global launch moment October 25th. As such, there is no early access beat this year for Black Ops 6, just the countdown to launch." Now, this came out less than half an hour ago or so, and people are already pretty up in arms about it. It's pretty clear that they're doing this because of how poorly Modern Warfare 3's campaign was received. That came out 1 week early. People got to play the campaign, which is good. It's nice to be able to play the campaign early, but people played it. People weren't really feeling it. The ending was stupid. The game itself kind of felt cookie cutter, like they brought back some old set pieces and some old characters, but it really didn't hit home or resonate for a lot of people. And as such, before Modern Warfare 3 officially came out, it already had a bunch of negative press, and they're trying to avoid that this year with Black Ops 6. Now, this may be an indicator that perhaps the Black Ops 6 campaign is not going to be that great either. You would think if they really believed that the campaign was going to be incredible, that they would just ignore all the negative press of Modern Warfare 3 and then move forward with their game, put it out there, let fans enjoy it, let fans experience it, but apparently they're not doing that this year, which is causing a weird scenario for the player base. Over the course of the past couple of years, we've had early access to the campaign, which is a good thing. I'm not even a big campaign person myself. I'm sure some of you guys are, maybe some of you aren't, but either way, having the choice to play the campaign 1 week early is good. Not only can you get a feel for the guns and get a feel for the game, you can dial in your controller settings, dial in your PC settings, kind of optimize the game before the full launch when multiplayer and zombies are released. And also, it's just nice being able to play the campaign at your own pace and not have that FOMO of having to choose what to play when the game first comes out. Like, the game first comes out, you got a job, you have to be up tomorrow, you have a little bit of time to be able to play the game. Do you want to jump in and start the single player? Do you want to jump in the multiplayer? Do you want to jump into zombies? You feel like, man, I should probably jump in the multiplayer because I don't want to get behind everybody, or, oh, I want to try out zombies, that sounds fun, but that's going to put me behind in the multiplayer. Also, there's that campaign there that I eventually want to get to. I'll tell you guys what, from my perspective, my own personal experiences here, when we don't have early access to a COD campaign, I don't even touch it for like the first 5 or 6 months. Like, eventually, maybe during like season 2 or something like that, I'll be like, okay, I'll jump through the campaign if I already haven't been spoiled by that point. If you're somebody who doesn't want to get spoiled for the campaign, you're going to feel like you have to jump into it right away. But then there you are with a brand new game on launch night. You want to jump into multiplayer, you want to jump into zombies, but you're worried about being spoiled, so you jump into the campaign instead. It's just a terrible situation overall. It's a really bad decision. They're letting the negative press of Modern Warfare 3 affect the launch of Black Ops 6, but also it has me worried about the Black Ops 6 campaign, because if they truly believed that the campaign was good, that people are going to love it and people are going to jump into it and just experience it and have phenomenal things to say about it, I don't think they would have any problem whatsoever putting it out early, but apparently they do, and so everything's going to release at the exact same time on October 25th, campaign, multiplayer, and zombies. Now, speaking of multiplayer, we got a deleted tweet from Treyarch. This happened about half an hour ago. I'm actually refreshing their Twitter page right now to see. They just actually put it up there 4 minutes ago. So we're going to see how they change this up. Yes, okay, it's a little bit different. I feel like I'm live streaming right now, but I'm recording a video. So here's going to be the initial tweet that Treyarch put out in regards to the multiplayer maps, because that's been a big point of feedback for players during the beta. Overall, I felt like the multiplayer maps were just too small, essentially. Like, every map kind of felt the same in terms of how fast it played. They looked different, but they were all very fast because they were all very small. Well, Treyarch puts on Twitter this right here, which got deleted. For those curious about our map size variety at launch, the majority of Black Ops 6's core 6v6 maps are medium-sized, similar in size to Raid or Summit. There are 16 multiplayer maps at launch, which we've broken down by size below, and here they have all the maps: Vault, Protocol, Lowtown, Red Card. You guys can read. I'm not just going to read out every single thing here, but keep in mind, they said that the majority of the maps are medium-sized, similar to Raid or Summit, but if you do the math there, and if you count the maps that they put up there, there's 7 medium maps and 9 small maps, which means the majority are small. Not to mention, they classified Scud as a small map, the same classification they gave Babylon. How does that make any sense whatsoever? It really doesn't. Well, they just put this tweet up. I'm pulling it over here right now. 4 minutes ago, it's all breaking news here on NerosCinema apparently today. They just reposted this exact same tweet. For those curious about our map size variety at launch, the majority of Black Ops 6's core 6v6 maps are medium-sized, similar in size to Raider Summit. Here below are going to be the maps, and here they have changed up the rankings a little bit. Here we now have 8 multiplayer maps that are classified as medium. We have 4 maps classified as small, and then 4 maps classified as strike, which I would just throw into the small category. But even then, it's weird how they're wording this here, man. They say the majority of the 6v6 maps are medium-sized, yet these are all technically 6v6 maps, and 8 are medium and 8 are small. That's not a majority, that's an equilibrium right there. I don't know exactly how they're measuring that. Maybe they're trying to say that the strike maps don't technically count as 6v6 because they can be played in gunfight, despite the fact that the face-off playlist is going to be right there for people to jump into. Either way, it looks like Treyarch is feeling a little bit of heat from the community right now, because I would say among many things when it came to the Black Ops 6 beta, one of the biggest points of feedback that I was seeing from a lot of people would be just the maps themselves. They felt really small. Every map was fast and chaotic and just boom, 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 kill, kill, kill. Like, it just, there wasn't really any thought to anything, right? Like, when you actually played the beta, it seemed like the only time you had a time to breathe, aside from when you were getting those terrible spawns, which happened on every single map, would be on Scud. And then sometimes when you're playing on Rewind, it would feel like you would spawn in the back of the parking lot and have to like jog 15 seconds to get into the gunfight, you know? But overall, the maps felt really small. And looking at this footage here, they're basically showing footage of every single multiplayer map within Black Ops 6. I will say, from a variety perspective, this looks nice. Like, the launch maps that we're going to have in this game are going to be varied. You're going to have all these different locations, all these different locales, and all these different feels, different color palettes, different everything. That's all nice. But if every map essentially is going to be the size of a strike map, like a face-off map, or at maximum the size of like Raid, I mean, Raid's a good map. It's got a pretty decent size, but at the same time, like, you're not really going to feel that variety in gameplay. You know, you might have that variety in appearance, which I think they nailed that, again, just looking at the maps here. I mean, aesthetically, the maps look nice, they're varied, that's all cool. But if every map kind of plays the same, it doesn't matter if you have a room here and the B flag's here, and then you add a wall here or whatever. If every map has the same overall feel in terms of it's just everybody butt sliding at each other and all gunfights basically take place like 2 feet away, that's going to make for a very mundane and repetitive multiplayer experience, which was the feedback that a lot of people were giving Treyarch during both weekends of the Black Ops 6 beta. So we are going to have to see, ladies and gentlemen, how they're going to continue to respond to this, and whether or not some changes may possibly be made to some of the beta maps, or maybe some changes are going to be made to the unreleased maps before launch, because it seems like right now they really want to have that focus on very small, fast gameplay on every single map, which for me personally, I'm not a huge fan, but I have a theory as to why they might be doing this. If you look at the recent Call of Duty titles, even a game like Modern Warfare 3, like Modern Warfare 3 dropped with the OG Modern Warfare 2 maps, and then I would argue that the post-launch maps that Sledgehammer was dropping for Modern Warfare 3 are incredible. Like, a lot of them are really good. A lot of them are meat grinder maps, but a lot of them are pretty good for being original content. Even with all of that, even with the OG maps returning, and even with new original maps coming out, what do the vast majority of people play? The small map playlist, man. They want to jump into Shipment, they want to jump into Shoot House, they want to jump into DOS House, they want to jump into those meat grinder maps where they just turn off their brain and level up themselves and their guns and get their attachments and their camos as fast as humanly possible. We are wired as human beings oftentimes to take the path of least resistance, and that's exactly what COD fans like to do. So it seems like, from a design perspective, Treyarch's like, you know, if the community only likes these small maps, how about we just only make small maps? But the amount of brain rot that goes into these maps, where you're just playing and it's constant like numbers on your screen and dopamine and kills and deaths and kills and deaths and kills and deaths, it doesn't make for a very fun or rewarding multiplayer experience long term. In the short term, while you're trying to finish up your camos on your shotgun, sure, it's fun. In the long term, if you're looking for an in-depth and engaging experience for your first-person shooter, playing those maps over and over is not the move. And it kind of seems like they're kind of just trying to make those small maps more prevalent in Black Ops 6 without having to really work too hard to make larger maps that actually work well. You can look back at games like Black Ops 1, you can look back at games like Black Ops 2, even Black Ops 3, going back to Call of Duty 4, the OG Modern Warfare 2. Those maps had size, but you know what? They also had character and they had depth, and there was a lot to those maps, and there's a reason why people kept going back to those games even all these years later, because of how fantastic those maps were. It's not like we were just playing Nuketown or the equivalent of the entire year. In Black Ops 1, we were playing on Grid and loving it. We were playing on Hanoi and loving it. We were playing on Launch and Jungle and loving it. And those maps are all way bigger than anything we experienced during the Black Ops 6 beta, because those maps were so well designed that regardless of them being relatively large, they were still small enough that you could use shotguns on them, you could still use submachine guns on them, you could feel good running around in quick scoping, you could feel good sitting back and hard scoping, like scout sniper gameplay, you know, you could do everything on these maps. Whereas you look at the maps that we had in the Black Ops 6 beta, you don't really have that variety in play style nearly as much, and that does have me concerned about the future of Black Ops 6, because they're really doubling down on the entire like ADD iPad kid mentality of everybody has to be in a gunfight all the time, otherwise they may get bored. They even said in an interview, and I might be doing a whole video on this interview here, but they're literally talking about how to make death in the game more fun and more interactive for bad players. Like, they want you to be so engaged all the time, non-stop, to the point where it's affecting the core design of the Call of Duty multiplayer experience, and a lot of fans, myself included, are worried about where this may take us. But ladies and gentlemen, that is it for this video here today. I hope you guys all enjoyed it. Leave your thoughts and feedback on Treyarch's comments on the Black Ops 6 multiplayer map sizes, as well as the campaign not coming out in early access, down there in the comments. Thank you all so much for listening, and I hope you guys all have a wonderful day.